Here's your ultimate guide to what type of oil painting palette is right for you. I just got this package from New Wave Art, who make professional artist palettes, so I thought we'd open it up together and I'd tell you the pros and cons of each palette surface. When I first started painting, I used disposable palettes, which come in all shapes and sizes and don't require cleanup. I still recommend them for student or beginner painters who don't have a permanent setup or don't use oil paints that often. But as you can imagine, they're pretty wasteful. That's why I switched to using this glass palette. Glass is the best overall for artists who want a big surface that's easy to clean. You just scrape the paint off with a razor and wipe it with solvent. The main downside is glass is heavy, and some artists like to hold their palette while they paint. If that's the case, or you just want to lean into the traditional vibe of oil painting, then a wood palette is probably the best choice. It has a different feel to glass. The paint feels more buttery, there's obviously less glare, and though you can get them in gray, they typically have a warmer brown color. Any mid-tone palette is better than white for mixing color, but some artists prefer a more neutral gray. The downside is wood absorbs paint and is harder to clean, although the years of staining is often what makes vintage palettes look so good. The most common setup for artist palettes is to sit on the table or be held in your hand, but there are other unique palette setups that are still popular with oil painters. If you like to paint outside, I just got this plein air setup, which comes with a palette built into the pochade box. You slide the palette in here, which means it's right in front of your artwork, and you can also carry it around easily. But another unique setup is a vertical palette, which is growing in popularity because of the way that you can see your paint mixing right next to your art. You mount the palette on some kind of tripod or iPad stand so that it sits vertically. Obviously, you have to be careful about stability and you can't use very runny paint. And one of the most epic ways artists set up their palette is by using an artist tabouret, which is a piece of studio furniture that holds your painting supplies and can have a big palette on the top. You can buy one, make one, or in my case, hack one using IKEA drawers. Let me know in the comments the weirdest palette setup you've seen. If you want more art tips, don't forget to like and subscribe.